Hey guys, Steven here, Fanatic Perspective. What is taking Texas so long with these offensive and defensive coordinator hires? Before we get into answering that question, I want to give a shout out to Boss's Ranch. You guys have been loving the Boss's Ranch. I appreciate all the feedback. If you want to throw out there a great Christmas recommendation, give somebody the recommendation of Boss's Ranch, best darn ranch here in Texas. This whole month we've been getting together with family. Sometimes people don't have time to cook. You want to get some pizza or some carrots, or you're hosting somebody. Whatever you guys do out there, Boss's Ranch is always a great compliment to that. You can find them in your HEB. Cold produce, fantastic product, best darn ranch in Texas. So guys, we still don't have an offensive coordinator. We still don't have a defensive coordinator. We are heading into early signing day period this week, and as you guys have heard around the country, a lot of other schools have been making moves, filling spots, hiring other head coaches, coordinators, dominoes falling across the country, but nothing at Texas yet. It's been quiet. Now, is this a strategic move on the part of Tom Herman, or are we, missing the ball on some of these guys? You see somebody like a Chad Morris who ends up at Auburn, and granted, I think the momentum has built for Graham Harrell, and we know they spoke. Now, Tom Herman did say that he hasn't offered anyone, but they've had conversations, whatever that means. But we also know that Graham Harrell has not re-upped with USC either. So I think from an offensive coordinator perspective, if there's a handshake agreement between the two, or agreement between the two sides, looks like it may wait after bowl prep and the bowl games, and it's something they may go into announcing thereafter. I do know that Graham Harrell, I believe, is still recruiting on behalf of USC, because all these schools are trying to close their classes this week going into early signing period, which is very, very interesting. Obviously we lose a Ty Jordan. We lost a Van Fillinger last week. It looks like we'll be able to hold the rest of our class solid, which is good news, and finish strong going into early signing period. Now, after that, you have your bowl game, and so that could allow Tom Herman to take more time, maybe talk with some other candidates at some of the schools that are in the playoffs. Maybe those are some schools he's targeting. Maybe, he's targeting potential NFL candidates, guys currently in the playoffs. See, right now, I know it's frustrating on our part, because you see a lot of the schools out here it's excitement, right? Ole Miss hiring Lane Kiffin. You see these teams quickly putting together their staffs. Florida State getting a Mike Norvell. Arkansas, Sam Pittman, who was the Georgia offensive line coach, heading over there. And he picks up the guy that I wanted to be our defensive coordinator, Barry Odom. That was actually my ideal candidate for RT. I think I said that in our previous video. But, now we look at the candidates. Chris Ash is still there, who's been the polarizing name in our UT community the last few weeks. And then we hear other names like a Terrell Austin or a Todd Graham. But, none of those names you necessarily get through the roof excited about. All very qualified. But where do we go from here? And why the length of time? And I think Tom Herman wants to do this right. I think he really, really, really wants to wait for the ideal candidate. And there may have been very, very good people like Barry Odom, who's probably would have been a very, very good hire in my opinion, but maybe not good enough. And I made the comment on the previous video, whoever you're getting, are you 100% positive they are an upgrade from Todd Orlando, right? They're an upgrade from Tim Beck. Tom Herman making some comments this week about the energy and the mental space it took going into each week, game planning and all of what he put into it, which basically tells you he was the de facto offensive coordinator, right? He wants to hand those responsibilities off to that person so he can handle business as the CEO and game manager, on the field, right? So what are our options at this point? I think all of us are getting a little antsy with the lack of news. You hear names pop up. You hear Tom Herman say, which could be a bold-faced lie that he hasn't interviewed anybody. But, you know, even if it's something where they do eventually pull the trigger on a Chris Ash, I am still excited to see how the staff, the entire defensive staff plays out, because we do know about Chris Ash's background coaching DBs in particular. And that's kind of his forte, whereas Todd Orlando's forte was more so with the linebackers. What, though, who's going to be the guy, or is it this current staff? Does the current staff here have an opportunity to show their value and maybe fight for their jobs, like an Oscar Giles? Because we know some of these other guys have been out there on the recruiting circuit. We saw Craig Naivar over at the Lake Travis game, I believe. I think it was Lake Travis or North Shore today. By the way, I want to send my condolences and prayers over to Jaquindon Jackson out of Duncanville, quarterback, who suffered a very devastating knee injury in the game against Rockwall today. Did see the video of the brother going down, and I was kind of tracking the game online, and really, really sad news for him, first and foremost, his team, as they are headed to a rematch against North Shore in the state championship game, and he'll miss that opportunity. And then, his future. It looked like a very, very severe knee injury, possible torn ACL. We'll await the MRI, according to Coach Samples, but it sucks. Just really, really, it hurt when I saw that. So, to his family and everybody, blessings, and knowing the young man's character and work ethic and the type of energy that he possesses, because it's contagious when you watch them play. I think he'll recover and bounce back from this and be an asset to UT in the future. Still very, very excited to see him on campus, but it sucks, man. It's just one of those things as a UT fan. The blows keep coming our way, right? And we're just looking, we're grasping and desperate for positive news, and so to Jaquindon Jackson, get well soon, brother, and heal up. And take your time. But in terms of the coaching staff, going back to the defensive side of the ball, guys fighting for their jobs, and what does that future look like for the staff as a whole? I think there are some coaches, depending on who the OC is named. I think Stan Drayton has a great chance of remaining the running back coach. We saw him at an in-home visit with Tom Herman and Brian Carrington, with Bijan Robinson, and Stan Drayton was there with his family, so they looked pretty solid. And so when you're sending these coaches out there on visits, I wonder if the recruits or family members are getting told a different story by Tom Herman about the future of this staff. Because I know if I was a parent or a family member or somebody that was in any of these kids' camp, that would definitely be one of my questions, because right now UT is operating under a cloud of uncertainty. And it's made, like I said before, it's made all of us very, very antsy. But hopefully Tom Herman, Chris Del Conte, they have a plan. And that plan looks right now that it will extend past the bowl season. Especially with, locking things up. It seems to be that's their primary focus, which it should be, in which is many of these coaches. But wrapping things up with the class, and Tom Herman's had to do a lot of the legwork himself, him and Brian Carrington, the last 2 weeks to shore things up, so that when you're going to a living room and you're telling a young man, we don't know who your offensive or defensive coordinator is going to be, but still come to Texas, and shows you that those relationships are strong. You hear Prince Dorba today come out and say he's 100% Texas no matter what, and those are the kind of guys you want. You want guys that want to be here. So guys, I wish I had more updates, but, as a fan, I just wanted to come out and speak with y'all real quick, because I myself, I did think this week we would at least have heard the Graham Harrell news. But the longer it takes, I ask you guys, does that benefit USC or does that benefit Texas? Defensive coordinator, that's still way up in the air right now. And obviously with the Barry Odom news of him heading to Arkansas, that's one less person out of the race. Morgan Scaley staying at Utah, that's another person out of the race, if they were ever even in the race. Some of these people just leverage Texas's name to get a raise. Excuse me. So we'll see what happens. Guys, I appreciate everyone that's chimed in and continues to chime in the comments, looking to learn more from y'all as well. I know some of y'all get the inside scoop on the message boards and whatnot, but I just try to keep my ear to the ground as best I can as well, and try to share in this beautiful Longhorn community that we have. So stay safe out there as everyone's wrapping up their holiday shopping. We'll be back with more. Probably make a video tomorrow morning regarding, as we expect Joe Burrow to win the Heisman right about now, just around all the awards, because I have a lot of opinions about the awards and some of these All-American teams. So I'll be back later, guys. Horns always up.